certain components. Now again, a party who owns access to water on the land, water is not considered real estate because real estate or real property cannot be moved. Water moves like crazy, right? You ever try to hold water in your hand? Doesn't work very well, right? And it loses away. So again, if an owner has access to large bodies of water like a lake, they would have what is called littoral rights. So again, there are many owners of property on the west coast of Florida who have access to the Gulf of Mexico. So not only do they have land rights, they have what is called littoral rights, correct? You know, there's an odd little city, it's called Golden Beach. And the city of Golden Beach is one of the few cities in the United States where the owners of the land on Golden Beach not only own the land, they own the access to the ocean. One cannot step on someone's land on Golden Beach without being trespassers. The only time you can walk on Golden Beach is when the tide is low and you stay east of the high tide marker. If you go west of the high tide marker, you are encroaching on someone else's land, and you can be shot in the state for doing that.
They have to the shoreline, correct?
They have there are wood markers, and these wood posts say you're allowed on this east part of the wood post because that's the furthest that the tide can come up. But if you cross that boundary, you're encroaching on someone else's land, and they have the right to defend their land. Yeah.
Are they allowed to like water access, like take?
What I said was this: if you want to walk on land on Golden Beach, you'd better stay east of the high tide marker. If you want to walk west of it and no one gets upset, we have a stand your ground in Florida that can shoot you and not even have to drag you anyplace. You got it?
Got it.
It's not, there are no graves. That high tide marker is the boundary. If you're east of it, you don't own it, you may freely walk. If you're west of it and you're on someone else's property and they don't want you there, out comes the Uzi. Simple or difficult? Now, riparian rights, this is where owners have properties, and they are on flowing water. Literal rights would be the rights to land that is tidal, where there's tidal waters, lakes, oceans, things like that. If one owned on lakes or oceans or Gulf, that's littoral. If one were lived on a property that had running water, either in front, back, or through it, and they have the rights to it, that would be riparian rights. Now, I'm going to give you something that is of profound importance. And this is actually a legal issue that occurred on the west coast of Florida. Let me give you your example. And this is real, and this is true, and you can look it up in case law. For our purposes, this is the Gulf of Mexico, right? And of course the peninsula of Florida, etc., right? Well, right near the Alabama border, and this is Florida, there's a town called Pensacola. And let's put Pensacola here. Well, if you're familiar with what's going on with our rising waters, we're losing land to erosion, right? As the waters get higher, land disappears. There were very wealthy people who owned properties right on the Gulf. Houses. And these were very, very high-priced properties because, frankly, not only did they own the land, but they had access right to high tide, which was theirs also, right? But they petitioned the state of Florida to replenish their beaches because they felt threatened by erosion. So their lobbying group said, state of Florida, replenish our beaches because we will be underwater and then you're gonna have a catastrophe. So the state of Florida said, sure, we will replenish your beaches and now you don't have to worry about erosion because now the beach is here instead of right by your houses. And they said, great. And then the state of Florida said, well, there's a little bad news also. Okay? We paid for it. We paid for it. This is now a public beach. Supreme Court case, the owners were wealthy, they brought this all the way to the Supreme Court. Supreme Court very simply said, had you had the foresight to know that you are giving up your rights to the Gulf, your littoral rights, you would have paid for this beach replenishment all by yourselves. But since you asked the state to pay for it, congratulations. You're now living on a public beach. What do you think happened to their property values?
Went down.
They dropped like a rock. And now, to make it worse, how does the public get through private property to get to a public beach? Through an easement.
Vacation rentals. They no longer live in them.
You can lose your rights. Again, rights are guaranteed, but again, one must protect their rights and be extra prudent, okay? So that's how one can lose their littoral rights. Actually, there are many owners on the Gulf, many owners on the Intracoastal who actually own homes and rent out dock space
Yep.
to boaters. You know, we have more boats than we have space. And marina space is highly coveted. It's almost as expensive here for marina space as it is for parking space in Midtown Manhattan. Maybe even more. Or the most precious parking space in the world is one on South Beach. When I rented, the first thing I said was, where do I put my car? And if they said, park on the street, come home from work and we'll look for parking for 3 weeks? Or pay $35 a day? I pull up to my building, the valet takes it, and I go upstairs. And you know when I take my car out again? I come to Gold Coast. You don't need a car on South Beach. It is the most pedestrian-friendly place probably in the world today. So again, one can lose their rights. Now there are actually natural forces that do affect one's littoral or riparian rights. And these natural forces can add or reduce ownership of land.